All right, as you can see, Andre Villas-Boas is with me. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good stuff. I was watching some of your chat with Andy Mitten earlier on. It was called Managing to Stay Ahead, which is interesting because it was a lot of talk about young people, successful young people, and of course, you were a very successful young person. And I often wondered, what was that like when you were making it really well in management at such a young age? Were you looking around thinking, this is a dream come true, this is amazing?
Well, it all happened very quickly. You know, the funny thing on that was I never got time enough to enjoy this. The achievements came almost at incredible speed. So I started my coaching career. After 8 months, I moved to Porto. And we won 4 trophies out of 5. After 10 months, I moved to Chelsea. That wasn't successful, but after I moved to Tottenham, and then from Tottenham to Zenit, won the championship and the cup there. So it kind of happened very, very quickly. So I'm now only 41, which is the age that normally a coach starts.
I think you'd be like the second youngest Premier League manager of you in the Premier League
I think
now.
so, yeah.
Or maybe the youngest. I think Eddie Howe is 40, I think, and I think you'd be second youngest.
Could be. It was a special time for me, of course, winning all these trophies at a young age, but really never had time enough to dwell on them. Just wanted to move on and on and on, and you want more and more and more in the end.
That's the irony, isn't it? As a successful person, you can't be happy with what you have, but ultimately, as a successful person, you'll never get to enjoy your successes. So it's a conflict.
Yeah, I think a reflection of what happens in society right now, which is the request for change, the constant change and urgency. So you just want to move on, and you demand more from yourself, and you want to try new things. So that always happened to me. Funny enough, it reflects a little bit of my childhood. I was not the brightest of students, but I was always a person wanting something else, something different all the time. And this still marks a little bit of my human characteristics right now.
Well, of course, we may as well chat a little bit about that. I was going to ask it at the end, but you say you're trying new things, like the Dakar Rally. When we saw the rally driver, we thought this is amazing. You still doing some of that?
Yeah, I did a few other runs. So the last one was a rally from the World Championship of the FIA. In Morocco, which I finished 6th. So motorsport in the end was bred through my family. So if you ask if I come from a football family, I don't. I come from a more motorsports engineering family. That's what marks us, our family. My father is an engineer, my uncle is a mechanical engineer, and he also did the Dakar 3 times. So this passion to do the Dakar was always there, and I wanted to do it, like a personal challenge for me. And it's always funny to test yourself in your own motivations and ambitions, and certainly the Dakar taught me a lot, and particularly when you have to get the car out of the sand. And
that's a challenge.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
What's more exhilarating? Being in a car going at full speed in the Dakar Rally, looking around you and things are crazy, or being on the sideline winning a UEFA Cup with Porto? Well, how do those two things compare?
Football is amazing in terms of the stress and emotional requests that it demands from you. It's absolutely incredible. Particularly because of the expectations of people. In the end, you are responsible for the passion of the network of fans that love the club. That have learned to love the club since they were a child, and that responsibility really takes a toll on you when you reach the match days. So I think nothing compares to that excitement than when you achieve a win for your team and for those fans in the end.
What I find very interesting about your career, and you mentioned it there, was that Chelsea perhaps didn't go so well for you, Tottenham perhaps didn't go so well for you, but I'd imagine you're a successful person, you always want to succeed, you learn from those experiences. But it seems that in football we have a culture of if you fail once or if you didn't succeed once, straight away you're out of the league.
Yeah, this is true. In fact, it's one of the points that I have to speak next. There is in nowadays less tolerance for the people who fail and for those who fail and how you fail. You really have to bounce back immediately. I decided to do it in Russia because they offered me the structure and ability and conditions to succeed as well. So I kind of went away from the European scenario of the top 5 leagues, let's say, and moved on to the Russian league, where it gave me access to Champions League, plus the stimulus from winning the league there. I think if you want to measure hatred, you go into Twitter during a match day. There are social networks that reflect change and love, and that can show your interests and your passion. Not criticizing Twitter as because it has potential on another ways, but if you want to see the dynamics of the emotion of football and the negativity towards someone at a certain time, you go into a Twitter account and follow the scores on how the people comment and the negativity that brings. So I think
really personal stuff.
Yeah, I think this reflects urgency, short-term vision, immediate success that is demanded from us right now. Not only from managers, but I think also from people in their work. So it's a difficult one to manage. I decided to make my bounce back away from that scenario. I had offers to go back to England, which I have refused because I love my passion for coaching and I love to teach. And what the Premier League offers is an emotional stimulus and prestige second to none. But it takes time away from what you love, which is to teach and to coach. Because you have to focus on the present, on the emotions of your players, on managing the media, on managing the structures of your club. And I think it really took a little bit out of the pleasure from that side, which I love, which is preparation, analysis of the opponent. So that's why I've moved a little bit out of English football. But coming back to your question, it's really important to come back, because the tolerance is less and less for the people who fail, for sure.
It's very interesting that you say that, because Chelsea is a football club that exactly sums up what you say: short-term thinking. Like how many they've got, like 1,000 players on loan at the moment, and they're going to stay out on loan.
I know it's difficult because the conundrum here is that they are successful like that.
True.
So the change brings success, and after 1 year another change brings another success. So sometimes I discuss this with people from football. What is the long-term vision of a club? What does the club want to achieve? What is the respect towards people, towards employees and people who are employed? This was certainly one of the questions I asked Roman when the day that I left Chelsea.
What did he say?
He didn't say nothing. He didn't speak a lot, but he didn't say nothing. There is the unfortunate thing here is that there is in football a space for people to be successful in the way they manage that football club, which is strange,
Sure.
because normally you want to set out a long-term vision with a coach that implements his own dynamic, his own ideas, and brings structure, improves, brings, of course, sporting results, but also brings financial results for the club. This is, I think, in the end, an objective of the club. And with Chelsea, all of these things happen whilst people are being embarrassed in some way.
Yes.
And you look at the way that, not speaking of my cases, but Scolari, Di Matteo, Ancelotti.
World-class managers.
World-class managers, but people that are human, and in the end, Benitez. I think Conte was the most extravagant one, because they forced Conte into starting the new season. And after 2 weeks, they reached the agreement to sack him.
Yes.
So, it's strange. It's very strange. I mean, but what can you say? They are successful. They have recently won the Premier League. They are one of the top clubs in the world. They are doing extremely well with Sarri. The thing is, will Sarri be there next year or in 2 years? You never know. But in the end, it is what it is. I think it represents football at emotion at its top. And in some way, just to tell you, just to finalize this question, it represents a little bit the management, the new type of management at the top that exists. The new type of management is emotional. Of course, it's looking for business return for their investments. The Americans, the Russians, and the Arabs that are investing in, particularly in the Premier League. They bring the money, but they have a certain way of manage that is different from what a European would expect.
A lot less patience and
less patient and more extravagant.
Yeah,
let's
sure.
say like that.
Can we expect to see you back in management sometime soon?
Yeah, my idea is I don't know where. because as I was telling you, what I look for now in clubs is to make sure I get the pleasure of coaching. This is what I like. I like winning, of course, but I like to be left alone in my preparation, to be able to enjoy what I do, which is my job, which is football coaching. In the end, our profession has become a running of other things rather than the football side. So, you know, the emotional side, the psychological side of the player, the dealings with the media. In the media now, the media has to sell the story that sells, not the story that is interest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So all of these changes make it difficult for you to enjoy. Not making a critical of the ball and your content.
You know, we love those stories.
But let's say tabloid sensationalist type of media.
And, like Jose versus Conte last year was a perfect example.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And the way the games finish right now, you know, we had a beautiful game, Chelsea-Man United, the other day, that finished with the incident with the assistant coach of Sarri, and the focus was on that, not in the game. So this sensationalism doesn't help football, and so I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I've enjoyed a lot my AG experience. I like Asian football because there I can enjoy myself and I can focus on the coaching and teaching players. There is nothing better than to know that somebody is developing because of what you bring.
Yeah.
The stimulus from that is as big as winning. If I want to stay on the top 5 leagues, probably thinking of Germany, Italy and France. But that would mean June 2019, so we still have a little bit of time for that.
Yeah, but it's very refreshing take on management. It's been great to speak to you.
Thank you.
And very best of luck, Andrew. And looking forward to seeing you back in football soon.
Thank you. See you. It was a
Awesome.
pleasure.
Thank you very much.